As South Africa celebrates Heritage Day, some of the country's prominent heritage sites are facing closures, are in the spotlight. These include the famous Mandela House in Soweto, as well as Liliesleaf Farm in Rivonia. These establishments could shut their doors for various reasons, including a lack of finance. eNCA's Mpho Lakaje brings us this Heritage Day special.
From a distance, it's just another building in the north of Johannesburg. But at close range, one discovers this is among the key places used to hatch the plan that led to the death of apartheid. This is Liliesleaf, the underground nerve center for ANC and SACP activists in the early 1960s. But on the 11th of July 1963, everything changed when apartheid security forces raided the farm in Rivonia following a tip-off. Crucial documents were seized, and politicians like Walter Sisulu, Ahmed Kathrada, and Nelson Mandela were later tried and sentenced to life in prison. In democratic South Africa, Liliesleaf became an iconic historical site, visited by at least 1,400 people every month. But now it's shutting its doors because money has dried up.
In reality, we got to this point because we were already heading there. COVID merely speeded it up and ensured that we arrived here quicker than we would have had COVID not come about.
And to make matters worse, government, which supported the site financially since its launch in 2004, is no longer prepared to do so.
My predecessors, ministers who were ministers of arts and culture, have made an approach to Liliesleaf and said to Liliesleaf that it should allow itself to be declared a cultural institution. I also have done that. And the guy, Nick Wolp, has refused flatly.
Essentially, what this means is that Liliesleaf would be entitled to government funding if it's declared a cultural institution. But its CEO, Nick Wolpe, doesn't agree. He says nothing stops Mthethwa from funding a privately owned heritage site.
He has the power and the discretion and the authority to fund. The question you should be asking yourself is to say, how did Liliesleaf get 61.5 million over the last 20 years? Under what basis and criteria and legislative framework was it given that money?
This back and forth sums up the problem that confronts Liliesleaf, and it looks set to continue. In Soweto, a similar story is playing out. In 1997, Nelson Mandela established the Soweto Heritage Trust to look after this museum. The aim was to ensure the money generated here benefited the township's people. But the trust was recently liquidated after failing to carry out its duties. It means the museum's future is now in limbo. Government has intervened, even though the establishment is privately owned.
At the moment, it's mainly a legal matter between the liquidators and everybody else. So we'll assist because we understand the significance thereof.
And then, of course, there's the controversial Winnie Mandela Museum in Brandfort in the Free State. It has been under construction for over a decade. When it became clear the Free State government was failing to complete it, the Sport, Arts and Culture Department took over. Another important historic building left to crumble. It was the home of respected lawyer and ANC co-founder Pixlika Isaka Seme. He built it in the village of Dagakral in Mpumalanga in the 1900s. Despite its crucial place in South Africa's liberation history, no one is showing interest in preserving it.
Our history is given scant attention. The reality is our history is not seen as important.
But why is that the case? Perhaps as we celebrate Heritage Day, we need to ask ourselves as a nation what heritage means to us. Mpho Lakaje, Johannesburg.